We were the first, the pioneers, but we weren't scared. We knew that no matter what happened, Mother and Father would always keep us safe.
Two ways of understanding the world: spiritual and rational. There are humans who are pragmatic in their approach and humans who are believers and are obeying the sacred text. The first thinks that there is no limit for what is permissible, later thinks that they shouldn't do certain things. For example, believers won't recruit kids to the army. They don't use androids for parenting, etc. But believers aren't without vices either. They are corrupt, their leaders are arrogant, incompetent and monarch-like. It is common to every society which has chosen to believe in the absolute superiority of a celestial being. We have seen it throughout human history. On the other hand, atheists don't have enough knowledge to be sure in their decisions, but they act as they have.
And the unreal can comfort the human mind, but it also weakens it. The civilization you're seeding here will be built on humanity's belief in itself, not an imagined deity.
And if it's not imagined? They won the war after all. What if praying will make Spiria better?
No, Campion. Only science can do that.
It didn't help the others.
Because we have more to learn. We will never advance unless you resist the urge to seek solace in fantasy. You are atheists. Peaceful. Technocratic. It is the only path to progress. And
When Campion starts praying, the necromancer demands from him to stop. Kid explains that he is afraid that his every sibling will die, and science is not going to help them. Android responds that it is not science to blame but the lack of knowledge.
You remember, your parents died with their eyes open.
Karl Marx, for example, defined religion as an alienated man's self-conscience and self-awareness. Inverted world conscience, general theory of the world. General basis for consolation and justification, a fantastic realization of a human being. It is not accidental that Marx said those things about religion. Marx was a man who believed in rationality, and thought that societies should be built artificially, in accordance with theory derived by means of science and rationality. Scientific literature about religion is condescending. It clearly demonstrates the inability of the rational mind to grasp and adequately explain the meaning of religion. When religion is explained, it is always done by showing contrast and backwardness compared to the rational model of thinking and understanding of the world. So the conflict between atheists and Mithraics is inevitable. How naturally we unify and give life to such. Take the case of God, an abstract entity we credit with being transcendent over mere mortals. Clearly they are fetishes, invented wholes of materialized artifice, into whose woeful insufficiency of being we have placed soul stuff, Michael Tausig, the magic of the state. This description begs the explanation: why humans have such a tendency, whether we try to explain it rationally, by ascribing some motivating and stress-mitigating function to religion, or by assuming that the human psyche has a spiritual dimension. Whatever it might mean, it is certain that in this TV show believers are winning. They are better.
From the matrix and the light, we are shielded from all that is harmful.
It seems very counterintuitive. Ones with greater knowledge and full commitment towards science are ones who lost the war. As if their stance and commitment betrays them and urges them to adopt religion and supernatural belief system as more empowering and potent. There is a point which is clearly made by a writer, the point that there are dimensions of our reality which can't be grasped and manipulated by means of science. To hack in those dimensions, one must commit to spiritual, this extra dimension supersymmetry of our existence. Gives the power of the transcendental world to mere mortals. The narrowness of the scientific worldview is what causes the defeat of atheists.
Why aren't you playing with the other kids?
I tried. They think I'm weird.
Well, you get that from your mother. Come on, we'll play our own game, huh?
My. Unless, of course, you think we're not cool enough for you, eh?
The middle ground, Marcus. A man who knows how cruel unbounded rationality can be, and a man who also knows how ignorance breeds corruption and crime. The character whose development we will see in the coming series, as an overarching protagonist which will prove that there is no truth in absolutes.
What's the matter?
Capacity for an artificial agent to exhibit emotions. What is the difference between actually feeling or being programmed to feel? Let's say that we can create a perfect representation of every neurostate and map it with every sensation and feeling possible. Then we create a robot with an artificial brain and program it to have certain neurostates for certain inputs. Would its capacity to feel be tantamount to humans' ability to feel?
The warmth of the star, drawing you.
I want to introduce a thought experiment created by John Searle. Let's imagine a room where a human who doesn't speak Mandarin sits. He waits to translate from Mandarin to English using an instruction. In this written instruction, every possibility is accounted for. When someone from outside passes an English word, he uses the instruction book to find a translation and gives it back. The question is whether this man actually knows Mandarin or not. The short answer is no. We should distinguish between syntactic and semantics. The system, like the Chinese room, in essence is syntactic. Like every computer system, they are programmed by an instruction book. They lack understanding, which is the semantical dimension of intelligence. So, even highly sophisticated android which computes what feeling they should exhibit, don't know the meaning of those feelings. Even verb knowing is incorrect, because knowing is not just having it in the memory, knowing means understanding. But there is a catch. What Searle argues is that computers can't have intelligence. The problem is in the hardware, which is computational in essence. Production of mental phenomena by human brains is done by many other things, which we don't fully understand. The brain is a neurobiological organ, which has a complex chemical composition, and switching between neural states is done by altering brain's physical state. So, if this androids like androids from Blade Runner have a brain-like organ, and not a computer, we should assume that capacity of human feelings is presented in them.
Bad wolf came along and knocked on the first little pig's door. Little pig, let me in," he said. "Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin," the little pig answered. To which the wolf replied, "Then I'll huff, and I'll puff, and I'll blow your house in."
Those are two main philosophical inquiries one can make on this TV show. As new series will be aired, I will explore more about this, or any other philosophical questions which may be presented in the future series.